when I was young, in this little action figure story, things overwhelmed me quite a lot. I had death in my family, and I didn't know how to deal with it. My grandmother was like the goddess of all goddesses, and then she just passed away, and she wasn't there. Yeah, and that was very confounding to my head, 9 years old. So a lot of things I decided, my little strategy as a self was, I'm going to make these things unreal. Yeah, so I started reading a lot of science fiction and started just checking out as much as I could. Then I was into sports, and then I got introduced to drinking. And drinking really worked in a way. I could make what seemed to be so real unreal when I was loaded, and I could make a feeling so I wouldn't be attacked by your feelings. See, you couldn't catch me unawares because I'd have a feeling in place all the time. I'm loaded. So it was like a sense of security. I'm not going to let life sneak up on me anymore. I'm not going to be open to any unconditional feelings and have them. I'm going to have a feeling in place. Yeah. And then the same thing, it pursued on from the drinking, spirit, then recovery, and then a spiritual search. The same thing. I was trying to make what was so incredibly, unbearably real to me unreal by all these damn practices. Then something shifted, and I let it be all that stuff as real as it wanted to be, and it showed me its true nature. It's unreal. While I was trying to make it unreal, it seemed as real can be. Every moment I was trying to make it unreal, I was giving it so much reality. As soon as I let it be as real as it wanted to be, it showed me its true nature. It's unreal. It's not happening. So this is happening, like it or not. Yeah? There's no way you can ever leave this. There's no way. You can think as much as you want about the future. If they had a surveillance camera in this room, you'd be in it, the film. No matter how much you're dwelling on Monday, you as this cannot be transported there. Yeah, because there's no airport. There's no train station. You can't take a cab from what's happening to what's not happening. There's no destination. It's not happening. Yes? And the same thing about going into the past. There's no place to go. All you do is go into a mythical past made up in where? In a mental realm called what? Not happening. Because as soon as what's happening appears, the whole realm of what's not happening disappears like that. There's not 1 second it takes to be erased because it's not happening. It just goes bing! And at that bing, that's it. That's awakeness. There's never a redo here, is there? Have you ever been in a moment, let's say at 4 o'clock and there was a bad moment around 3, and then suddenly the lights get turned off and the director comes out and says, hey, I think we want to do another take on that. That didn't go so well for the star, you. All right, so let's gather up. I want you to say, hey, I really like you, Paul, instead of fuck off, Paul, whatever. Sorry about that. This and that. There's no redo, is there, here? Yeah? There's no redo. You don't get to do over 11 o'clock on a Saturday. But what happens is the mind, the conditioned mind, represents it over and over and over and over and over again. It represents the event with all the options it entertains could possibly be so. Well, this actually it didn't happen, maybe. I deny it completely or disassociate it from it, or I make up a new story about it. I blame someone for my inconvenience or discomfort. You're the one, you're the source of my unhappiness. But in fact, the true solution to all of it is immediate. It's not happening. You are experiencing the mental equivalent of fear, which is anxiety, and you're reacting physically to an impending threat, but it's not happening. Because what solution could you have about being absorbed in what's not happening? There's nothing you can do except admit it's not happening. That's the solution. Yeah. There's no other solution. If you start trying to think about how can I fix what's not happening, you've missed the underlying quality, which is it's not happening. We don't know how to hold it up against what's not happening. What's not happening seems to have a lot of weight with us because we're not anchored in what's happening. See, when you're not anchored in what's happening, you'll have a tendency to be affected by what's not happening greatly. But the antidote to what's not happening is what's happening. I mean, we're miracle workers, everyone in this room. We're making what's not happening appear to be happening. I mean, it's like raising the dead every day. You're constantly raising the past and the future every freaking day. You think Jesus raised Lazarus, that was a miracle. You're raising what's not happening every freaking day. At least Lazarus seemed to have been happening. And then he was raised when he stopped happening. But this has never happened. It's what's not happening, and we're raising it every freaking day. Yeah. It's like some great master said, who, whatever, says, instead of giving up your possessions, just give up the possessor, yeah? So instead of giving up all you're doing, just give up the doer. Instead of giving up all your what's not happening, just realize it's not happening. It's faster than giving it up. There's just a realization it's not happening. Can you imagine if you get hit, that hits you, you immediately lose interest in it. Immediately. You don't have to drag your interest out of what's not happening. Why? Because it's not because it's not happening. Not happening is the perfect Zen bitch slap to me.